hey, so it is Sunday, May 9th, and I just wanted to give a quick start to this new reading vlog, reading middle grades. I'm super stoked for all of the books that I have planned for this vlog. So my plan for this one was to it's mostly middle grade fantasies that I was interested in for this one. That's just most of the middle grades that have been on my radar. And I took a look at what I had and I decided to read the first two books in the Pages & Co. Book Wanderers series by Anna James. And this is in general about a young girl who can travel into the books that she's reading, which is, I'm just sold right there. So I want to read the first couple of ones in there. I have the first two on Kindle. I also have been able to rent the ebooks from the library, and I'm already listening to the first one. And it is absolutely precious so far. I'm adoring it. I'll talk more about it later. So I only have a short time to check in now. I also want to read Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. And so I'm very excited about this one. I think I also have this one on Kindle, but I've also been able to find the audiobook from my library, and so I'm very excited to check that out. I have heard nothing but amazing things about that middle grade. And the final book that I would like to read, I don't know which order I'll read them in other than starting with the first Pages & Co. book. So I say the last one, not because I know which order I want to read them, but just the other book that I would like to read is Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. I have adore the Nevermore series, and I've read the first two and I have been desperate to read the third one. I'm probably gonna have to get the Audible or get the audiobook via Audible with a credit. I've actually been able to get the first two on audio from my library, but for some reason my library doesn't have the third audiobook. And honestly, I adore these audiobooks so much anyway that I know I'm going to want to listen to them over and over again. So it's not going to hurt to just have a copy of the third one. So that is the plan for this vlog. I will check back in when I have a little bit more time, but I just wanted to give a quick intro into the really exciting and hopefully amazing books that I'm going to be reading over the next week or so. And I think maybe by the time I finish these, I will be headed back to my apartment, or maybe I'll be finishing these books up as I head back to my apartment. We'll see. We'll see what books I happen to be reading at the time, but I might finish with this before then. Who knows? But anyway, I will check in later. Oh, hey, it's Emily. It's a few days later, and I wanted to check in on some of my middle grade reads. So I've listened to the first two books in the Pages & Co. Book Wanderers series by Anna James. These are so precious. I absolutely adored these. So in this one we follow Tilly, and Tilly is an amazing character. I absolutely adore her, and she is an orphan. Her father died when she was young. Her mother kind of disappeared under mysterious circumstances. She's being raised by her grandparents, and her grandparents own a bookshop. And so she's grown up in this bookshop, and she discovers that she has the ability to book wander when at first some characters from some of her favorite books, or her favorite characters from some of her favorite books, start appearing in the bookshop. So she's having conversations with Anne from Anne of Green Gables and Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and they're actually able to help take her back into their books. So she's going to have tea parties with Alice, things like that. It's kind of the setup here is that she starts book wandering. It turns out her grandparents can also book wander, and it's part of there's a whole society of book wanderers. And so she is kind of introduced into this world at the beginning of the book and towards the beginning of the book, and then realizes that, or she sees something that makes her realize that maybe the disappearance of her mother is something that she might be able to get some answers on through book wandering. And so, and it kind of goes from there. I absolutely loved it. The characters are so precious. I love Tilly. I love her friend Oscar. I love her grandparents. It's just such an interesting and just charming, whimsical story. I had a smile on my face the whole time. Such a good story. The second one was also amazing. and sets up the third one that should be very, very interesting. And I'm not going to say much about the second one because I don't want to spoil anything from the first one. I'll just say that there are some things going on with the larger society of book wanderers that Tilly kind of gets drawn into in the wake of the events from the first book. I'll just leave it there. But it's so precious. It's so precious, and I had such a fun time with it. I'm now listening to Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. This is the third book in the Nevermore series, and I've absolutely adored the first two. I'm just a bit into the third one, so I won't say too much about my thoughts. This one follows, so the series in general follows Morgan Crow, who's a young girl who was supposed to die on her 11th birthday. She's deemed to be an unlucky child by her society, and so she gets blamed for everything bad that happens in her town. And as an unlucky child, she is kind of marked or destined to die on her 11th birthday. But Jupiter North from Nevermore comes to rescue her and whisk her away to Nevermore to enter trials to become part of the Wondrous Society, and the series kind of goes on from there. So she spends her time and basically just lives in Nevermore at this amazing hotel. And Jupiter North is kind of her mentor, her guide, and kind of helps her through the trials and kind of just helps her through kind of Nevermore society, navigating Nevermore society, I guess. And so I won't say too much about this one in particular, because I don't kind of want to spoil some things that have happened along the way in the first two, but I will just say that there is kind of an outbreak. So in this society there are Wunimals, which are, you can kind of think of them as animals with more human-like sentience, I guess. They can talk, they can do things that, we might attribute to humans. And there is some sort of virus, some sort of disease that is starting to break out among these Wunimals. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. And so I'm guessing Morgan is going to find a way to kind of help out with whatever is going on and kind of use some abilities that she's uncovered along the way potentially to help. But the series is amazing. It's, again, whimsical, charming, the writing is amazing, and the characters are just so real, and it's just so much fun. It's just pure fun. Anyway, I will check back in soon. I'm actually tomorrow I'm going to be heading back to my apartment in Arlington, so the rest of this vlog will be transitioning there. So that's it for the moment. I will check back in later when I have more time. I'm actually going to have a pretty busy weekend. I am heading back to my apartment tomorrow in Arlington, Virginia, and so it's going to be a busy weekend, traveling back and just getting stuff set up after being gone for a while. But I'm heading back to my apartment, so the setting will change as this vlog continues, but I will check back in later. Okay, I'm back in my apartment, back around my bookshelves, which has been delightful. Have some rosé. Let's just have a chill catch up to wrap up this vlog. So I think when I last checked in, and it's been a minute again because it's been a lot to come back to my apartment after not being here for over a year, clean everything up, organize stuff. My poor car is a goner, and so it's just been a long stretch of time just cleaning, organizing, reconnecting with my life here, so I haven't been able to check in, but I should be able to do so more regularly now that things are a bit more settled. So I think when I last checked in, I was almost done, or a good chunk into Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. This is the third book in the Nevermore series. I think I mentioned in general what this book is about and what the series is about. And of course I absolutely adored this. This was amazing. I don't know if it's my favorite in the series. It's kind of hard to actually rank them. But this one was still delightful. I love Morgan. I love the side characters. This one was a little bit slower, I think, than some of the other ones have been, but there was still an interesting mystery at the middle of it. We still have all of the really cool settings, the hotel, we have some of the delightful side characters. It's just a good time. It is just a good time. I love this series so much. So that book went exactly how I thought it would go. The next book, the final book that I read for this vlog was Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. This was also amazing. This has been a fantastic week of reading, all of these delightful middle grades, and this one follows Tristan Strong, who accidentally punches a hole in the sky, and he is dealing with some stuff after the death of a friend. He's dealing with some family situations, accidentally punches a hole in the sky, encounters all sorts of characters, and has all sorts of just wild adventures. And this one is really cool because it just involves some really fun, imaginative, just really great just side characters, and just the storytelling, the lore. This is like, it was fantastic. It was so much fun. It was so entertaining. Tristan just has some wild adventures and is finding his own power as a storyteller, which I think is one of my favorite aspects of this book, is just the power of story, the power of words to change things. And it was so much fun. Tristan's a great character. Gum Baby was fantastic. I really loved that character as well. There were a whole host of great characters here that kind of guided Tristan along in his adventure as he was figuring out where he was and what was going on, and trying to get an important object back, and then realizing that that object had a larger role to play in a bunch of things. And it was delightful. It was wonderful. I really would love to read the next one in this series as well. So I'm in the midst of a bunch of series with everything in this vlog, because I still need to read the last Pages & Co. book, and then I think there's another Tristan Strong book as well. Hollowpox, or the Morgan Crow series, I'm caught up with, or the Nevermore series, I guess I'm caught up with. But so all in all, very successful vlog. I think I've been overall ranking them at the end of these vlogs, so I will continue to do that. And I'm gonna say that Hollowpox is probably my favorite. Then, how do I decide between Tristan Strong and the second Pages & Co. book? I mean, both Pages & Co. books were a lot of fun. The first one is just a bit slower. It's a lot slower, actually. And Tilly spends a long time just figuring out that she can book wander and what that means, and learning more about that. So the first one is not the more action-packed of the two of those. But, maybe Tristan Strong, and then the second Pages & Co. and then the first, but they were all so much fun. And I just absolutely love middle grade fantasy, to be able to just give you a whimsical, good time. So yeah, really great reading week. And the one that I need to start or do an intro clip for my next vlog, which is reading the books that Kim picked for me from Expedition Through Pages through her TBR game. I'm finally getting around to these books. So that'll be my next vlog, is reading the 4 books that are based on prompts that Kim picked for me. I'm very excited, and I've already started reading for that one, so I need to do an intro clip and check in. But thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more bookish content. I will be sure to leave my Twitter and Instagram linked down below. That's where I like to hang out. I will also leave more resources for how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!